Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm your host Gabo Say So, and we back with another one. We got the destruction of Diddy. Honestly, yeah, this year's been kind of devoted to the destruction of Diddy, bro. Uh, a hip hop mogul, an icon, a legend who's now ruined his image. He's ruined everything's kind of ruined for Diddy right now. Like, uh, the man ain't gonna go broke. You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. We seen this with R. Kelly. We seen this with Bill Cosby, and now unfortunately we're seeing this with another rap mogul icon who people have admired and respected throughout the years. And I don't think there's any recovery from this, bro. I don't think there's any coming back from this. He's still gonna be rich. He's still, I can't even say he's still gonna be Diddy, because like even Diddy has a new context nowadays. Let's get right into everything that's been transpiring with Diddy, because people ain't holding up, especially 50. I know y'all seen 50 selling his documentary to Netflix, which is probably gonna be the nail in the coffin of Diddy, bro. Like it's bad out here for Puffy Combs.
It has been over 2 months since Diddy began to self-destruct. On the morning of March 25th, the world watched on as the walls began to be knocked down. Diddy's LA and Miami mansions had both been raided by the feds.
And we're still trying to figure out where exactly P. Diddy is located.
Is there any sense of how long that could take after a raid like this?
It could take weeks, it could take months. And the reason why is because they gathered so much evidence. Was supposedly they gathered so many videos and laptops and also electronic devices, and they have to now conduct a forensic investigation of those items.
Videos of Diddy pacing back and forth went public, and it was even rumored that he was hiding out overseas. Since then, things have definitely quieted down on the Diddy front. He had apparently returned back home. People had even seen him out in public. And like many other instances over the last 3 decades, it looked like he was once again going to be getting off the hook. After all, this is an extremely rich and powerful man who people have alleged was doing dirty, disgusting things in the background for quite some time. And he was still a staple in the entertainment and business sector of our world.
I like when you like this, Daddy. Yeah, where you put my bag? Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping. No, I like that. You know, why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but me and you ain't never really party, you know what I'm saying?
P. Diddy be wanting to buy.
Pause. Yo, one thing I've learned about Diddy that I didn't know before, I didn't know that Diddy lacked so much social awareness. He's not hip to the times, bro. I don't think Diddy is aware of social media lingos, just where the culture is. It's like he doesn't hear how he comes across or how people can interpret the things that he's saying. Like, bro, I don't care what era you from. Calling another grown man daddy is crazy. Crazy work, bro. Like, it's unfathomable, bro. Like, I don't know what era that's. I don't know what.
It. And you gotta tell him no.
But now it looks like we might finally be getting just a little peek behind the curtain into the dark world of Diddy, as a surveillance video has now been leaked, and this apparently comes from the raid of his home from 2 months back, where you can see him physically violating his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway back in 2016. Diddy appears here in a towel, and he continually throws her around like a rag doll as she attempts to escape. The scene here is truly
That's putting it lightly.
really disturbing and really does make you think about what this man would be willing to do behind closed doors. When it comes to these two, they actually dated for over a decade, and you can only imagine the things she saw during that time period. After this all came out, he would actually release a garbage apology video.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that. I was f***ed up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it, I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Never understood that aspect, like not asking for forgiveness, but yet claiming issuing an apology. I don't know who you like. One thing I've learned about these times, bro. And granted, I'm not a public figure. I'm not as big as Diddy, but I just don't see the sense of a public apology. Now, granted, when you're a businessman, entrepreneur, like Diddy is, you got to try to save face, you know, for potential businesses and networking and all that shit. Like he's trying so like this is probably the most winless attempt at saving a public image. There's no damage control to this, bro. You know, like that apology kind of fell flat, not mentioning Cassie's name, even though there were reports that it, it it was signed through an NDA for him to not mention her name. It is what it is. I just didn't understand the apology. It kind of fell. I just didn't get it, bro. I really just didn't get it, especially after he issued that statement claiming that what Cassie and everybody else that's been attacking him have been, you know, creating lies, and it's just an attempt at money. And then the video comes out, and now we get this apology. But it's like, come on, bro. Like you got caught red-handed being a liar.
Due to the statute of limitations, apparently Diddy cannot be tried for his actions that day. And of course, this incident is
I go hold you.
Diddy cannot be tried for his actions.
Running down this aisle, bro, running down a hotel hallway with nothing but a towel on, zero fucks given, bro. Zero fucks given. Like, he don't care that he's on a surveillance camera, and to still do what he did, bro, it speaks to the power, it speaks to the mindset of the powerful, right? Where it's just like, we condemn idiots for committing crimes in front of surveillance cameras. When it's a multi-billionaire mogul like Diddy, it's like, come on, bro. Like, there's no excuse because you're beyond the levels of should have known better. You know what I mean?
It's that day. And of course, this incident is actually one of many that was presented in Cassie's lawsuit against P. Diddy that she filed last November, where she sought damages over trafficking, physical violation, and physical abuse. And this suit would actually be settled out of court only one day after it was filed. And while she was seeking $30 million, there is no official number on where they would eventually settle. Of the many things Cassie would accuse Diddy of, the list would include violated Miss Ventura in her own home after she tried to leave him, often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on Miss Ventura, resulting in bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding, blew up a man's car after he learned that he was romantically interested in Miss Ventura, and that was allegedly Kid Cudi whose car he blew up, forced Miss Ventura to engage in sex with male workers while and filming the encounters, ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rivalry industry executive whom he learns was nearby. This was allegedly Suge Knight, demanded that Miss Ventura to carry his firearm in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is, and introduced Miss Ventura to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse, and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addictions. These two actually met back in 2005 when Cassie was only 19 years old. Apparently she got on his radar when he heard her first single playing in the club, and immediately became interested in signing her with his label Bad Boy Records.
I started hearing this record that was haunting me in the clubs, and it was, you know, it was Cassie's record, Me and You, and it was, I would hear it everywhere I was at, and so I kept asking what record is that, and when told me that it was Ryan, exactly, it was Cassie.
At that time, Diddy was a wealthy 37-year-old business mogul with the Midas touch, as he was known for his keen ability to spot out and shine light on the next big thing in music. He quickly rose up the ranks as the most powerful public figure in the hip-hop industry. Mr. Combs asserted complete control over Miss Ventura's personal and professional life, thereby ensuing her inability to escape his hold. He provided unprecedented avenues of success for the aspiring artist, but in return demanded obedience, loyalty, and silence. Within months of the two meeting, he would actually sign her to a 10-album deal, which in the music industry might as well be signing away a huge portion of your career, as well as your life.
I wanted, you know, Cassie to, everybody to meet Cassie. Y'all know that's Cassie. And hear the story directly from my mouth.
Her debut album would be an immense success, climbing all the way up to the number 4 spot on the Billboard charts. From here, she would be thrust into the spotlight of fame and everything that comes with it, a fast life of luxury that previously she could only dream of. Mr. Combs' recognition and glorification of Miss Ventura's naivety proved to set the groundwork for his manipulative and coercive romantic and sexual relationship with Miss Ventura, a woman nearly 2 decades his junior. Within a year of signing to Bad Boy Records, Mr. Combs became deeply entrenched in Miss Ventura's life, almost immediately asserting possession and control over her, and inserting himself into all aspects of her career and personal life. And when Cassie first found out that Diddy was interested in her romantically, allegedly she was grossed out by the idea, due to his father-like relationship he had developed with her at the time, and of course the very large gap in their age. It would apparently take 2 years, but eventually Diddy would get his way and become intimate with Cassie. She would officially enter his inner circle, and soon Diddy would have his fingers on every aspect of her life. All aspects of Miss Ventura's life were controlled by Mr. Combs or his management companies. Every event Miss Ventura attended, from the travel to the makeup and clothing, was paid for directly by Mr. Combs and his affiliated companies.
Just shooting this Cassie video. See if we can find Cassie.
Compounding this all-encompassing intrusion into her life, Mr. Combs secured his control over the young and impressionable Miss Ventura by introducing her to a drug-fueled lifestyle that kept her complacent and compliant. Mr. Combs first introduced Miss Ventura to opiates around 2008, and would often have pills and other drugs out in the open like candy. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs has been addicted to prescription painkillers and took ecstasy frequently. In this way, Mr. Combs exerted ownership over Miss Ventura. As another example of the ways in which he manipulated her, early on in their relationship he asked her what she called her grandfather, and when Miss Ventura said that she referred to her grandfather as Pop Pop, Mr. Combs perversely insisted that she refer to him with that nickname. Now that is the move of a true weirdo. Over the next decade, multiple times each year, Mr. Combs would violently beat Miss Ventura, leaving bruises on her body. After every instance in which he beat her, Mr. Combs used his money and power to orchestrate extensive efforts to hide the evidence of his abuse, including hiding Miss Ventura in hotels for days at a time to let her bruises heal. This is something that apparently happened time and time again. As the lawsuit does list multiple instances of...
You couldn't even tell, because I remember when they were dating, and I'm kind of shocked that it was for 10 years. They were together for a whole decade, which is insane. I didn't think it was that long, but I can remember these photos. I can remember them being out in public together. I can remember it wasn't too much chatter about the difference in ages at the time. Diddy was just huge. Diddy couldn't fail at that time. But I remember her as a rising star. It goes to show you, for the women out there that just want to be with these rich men, that speak this 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure kind of mindset. You really, like, it's like you don't really know what you're signing up for, per se. And every single time you hear about like some of the secrets in hip hop, you hear about these secret groups, these secret gatherings, these suspect parties, and you could almost say that Diddy was spearheading this shit, bro, because you couldn't tell from the outside looking in that all this shit was happening. This girl showed no signs of, I'm talking about SOS, like blink if you need help. She wasn't giving none of that. And to hear all this happen, several years after their breakup, is insane. It's insane. Now, I'm not running anything past, the diddler. You know what I mean? But, like, you can only imagine what she was going through, bro, from 19 and beyond.
Of Diddy putting his hands on Cassie.
I'm talking about there was like no smoke of this, yo.
Even details the network of people involved in covering these incidents up. She was allegedly kept away from family and was apparently even told to lie when questioned about these rumors of abuse. She found herself becoming numb to the abuse she was experiencing and became entirely beholden to Mr. Combs' demands. She began to blindly follow his instructions out of fear of again being on the receiving end of a vicious beating. By Mr. Combs' own admission, his relationship with Miss Ventura was like Bobby and Whitney, a clear acknowledgement of the unequal power dynamic and excessive domestic violence that permeated their relationship. Her volatile and partner, who also owned her label and therefore held her future success in his hands, had fully exerted control over every aspect of her life.
So do you believe in love at first sight?
I do. I do.
Was it love at first sight with your boyfriend?
It was a long time ago.
What makes you guys work?
I always say when someone asks you a question and you see someone looking up to the left, they're about to lie to you. You know what I mean? Like some questions don't need deep thought, and I'm telling you, at that moment, I'm not gonna act like I knew this, like these subtle hints back in the day, but just watching her body language when asked about the, potentially falling in love with her partner, and just look at her body.
I do. I do.
Was it love at first sight with your boyfriend?
You know what I mean? Was it love at first sight with your boyfriend? That subtle glance up in the sky. It's like you're looking to God for an answer, something that's gonna, like it's not a natural response. It's I gotta give this some thought, and it's these subtle details that we kind of we look past at that time.
It was a long time ago.
What makes you guys work?
Well, I think what makes any
She keeps doing it with every question. She's just looking up to the left hand corner, bro.
What makes you guys work?
well, I think what makes any relationship work, if it is working, is just not talking about it too much and just keeping it close to your heart.
Furthermore, within months of the inception of their relationship, Cassie claims that Diddy was already shelling her out to other men for his own pleasure. While in New York
This is
City,
sick.
Mr. Combs told Miss Ventura that he wanted to engage in a fantasy of his own called Frism. Mr. Combs said it would turn him on if he saw Miss Ventura with another. Basically, she's alleging that Diddy was in the corner watching. Mr. Combs began to call his arrangement a freak-off, or FO. He would repeatedly tell Miss Ventura at random moments that he wanted an FO, and Miss Ventura was eventually expected to facilitate the location and the hiring of the male workers. At certain points during Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura's relationship, he would insist on FO weekly. Mr. Combs would repeatedly tell Miss Ventura that this practice was our thing and our secret. FOs would often take place in hotel suites, including at the Trump International Hotel in Columbus Circle, a hotel in Beverly Hills, the London Hotel in Los Angeles, the Intercontinental Century City, the Intercontinental Atlanta, the Intercontinental New York City. Is anyone seeing a pattern here? The One Hotel in New York and in Miami, the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in New York and in Miami, the Fontainebleau in Miami, the Beverly Hills Hotel, and Shutters on the Beach in Los Angeles. On one occasion around 2013, Mr. Combs had an FO set up at the Intercontinental Hotel in New York City, after which he was charged with tens of thousands of dollars in damages by the hotel. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs' chief of staff, Tony Fletcher, paid the invoice charged by the hotel. Keep in mind, the lawsuit also claims that Diddy's personal assistants allegedly set up many of these encounters. And here is specifically the part where they talk about the hotel incident. In or around March 2016, during an FO at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, Los Angeles, Mr. Combs became extremely intoxicated and punched Miss Ventura in the face. After he fell asleep, she tried to leave the hotel room, but as she exited, Mr. Combs awoke and began screaming at her. He followed her into the hallway of the hotel while yelling at her. He grabbed at her and then took glass vases in the hallway and threw them at her, causing glass to crash around them as she ran to the elevator to escape. She managed to get into the elevator, and when she got to the lobby, quickly took a cab to her apartment. Upon realizing that her running away would cause Mr. Combs to be even angrier with her, and completely stuck in his vicious cycle of abuse, Miss Ventura returned to the hotel with the intention of apologizing for running away from her.
I didn't know all these things were going on, bro, but the more you hear about these details, it almost comes across as a kidnapper and their victim. Like I'm not sure if you guys are getting that same vibe, but it's giving me like this man. It doesn't sound like a relationship. It sounds like a kidnapping, and this is a survivor explaining everything she's had to, or the ordeal that she's went through as being a survivor of someone's abuse. Like some of these shits is nasty work, bro. Like I can't even front nasty work. And granted, a lot of people don't think Diddy's gonna go to jail for this. But just the fact that he was capable of doing this to just a human being, and you look at the age gap, right? Like this man is almost three times her age. What was he, 39 and she was 19? Man had 2 decades on her, bro. Controlling her life like that, controlling her future like that, abusing her, making her do like that's just different. Now, I mean, I know I've heard stories about rich folks being ain't shit because of the money and the power, but some things are just almost borderline demonic. Monstrous, and it's just like a deep evil level of abuse. This is evil abuse. This is someone that has drug issues, someone that's beyond the cater of anger management, and just one of the most powerful men in the country. And it sounds like he just took it all out on her. Like this wasn't even like a romantic relationship. This was almost like an obsession to want to control this woman to this level. And you're Diddy, bro. Let's carry on.
When she returned, hotel security staff urged her to get back into the cab and to go to her apartment, suggesting that they had seen the security footage showing Mr. Combs her and throwing glass at her in the hotel hallway. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs paid the Intercontinental Century City $50,000 for the hallway security footage from that evening. And remember guys, that's the footage that they're saying is coming from this raid, so who knows what else they had, who knows what else is gonna leak. Of course, there's many other details of other incidents in this court filing, but if one thing is clear, it's that Cassie has PTSD from over a decade of the madness that went on with Diddy. Like, for her to be so close to him for so long, I can only imagine the things that she went through and saw firsthand. And to me, she has to be the one person that Diddy likely fears the most when it comes to his inevitable downfall. And for him to go on this apology video acting like this was some sort of isolated incident is just ridiculous. To me, this is clearly a disgusting monster of a person who feels like he can do anything he wants to whoever he wants without fear of repercussions. Furthermore, there must be several people within his circle who are guilty in aiding him in his quest for power over others.
Facts.
Of course, there are tens to hundreds of other rumors about this man that I plan to break down as more comes to light. I'm talking about the Kardashians potentially being involved. I'm talking about him inviting DaBaby up to his room during the peak of his career that might have sparked those statements that he made on that Rolling Loud stage.
I was at a party at Diddy crib. Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, like the influx of people he had put him out. But he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
Either way, I will continue to keep you guys updated on the Diddy situation, so y'all make sure you subscribe. Of course, I also want to thank you guys for watching today's video, but as you guys know, it's been your boy the Tan Superman, and some other viral news out here needs to be covered, so I'm out.
It's so crazy because it's like now, any context with partying with Diddy will not age right. It's not gonna age well, bro. That shit's gonna age like milk. Yeah, bro. I don't know what I could possibly say, but this man is a disgusting human being, and it's just getting worse and worse, bro. And granted, I can't speak to who he is today. He might fully well be a changed man. None of that matters, bro. None of that absolutely matters, because what you put this woman through, and a plethora of stories, because let's be honest, this ain't just the first story we hearing about Diddy. There's been stories all throughout this man's career, but the master manipulator has always made it disappear. Like yo, Diddy is almost modern day like Pablo Escobar. You know what I mean? If I could think of anybody to compare him to, just behind closed scenes, behind closed doors, we're talking about a monster behind, that probably had his fingers in a lot of people dying, obviously setting a man's car on fire. We know about the East Coast and West Coast and how he was in the middle of that. He's the one that walks out unharmed out of all those casualties back in the day. Stories from women who are now coming out. There are a plethora of stories about Diddy that have come out throughout the years, and we kind of brushed underneath the rug because, I mean, we didn't have something as big as this Cassie situation, bro. But now everything's coming to light, bro. And it doesn't matter if that man has asked God for his mercy. You're not gonna get any from the people of God. I'll tell you that much, man. I think it's over for this man, and it's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse. Like, my stomach kind of cringed when I watched him put the pounding on Cassie like that, bro. From the 60-yard field goal he tried to kick to the stinky leg dunk, like the stomp, like kicked and stomp. It's just crazy, bro. Just a madman with power. But I'm gonna holla at you. This was the destruction of Diddy, and to be honest, it's only the beginning. It really is. I'm your host, Gabo Say So, and I'm gonna holla at you guys next video, man.